With the draft set to start soon, look, here's the thing everybody wants to know. What are the Jaguars going to do? When are they going to be on the clock? We brought in Frank Frangie to kind of work through some of the process. So, Frank, through this whole thing, I think a lot of Jaguars fans have started to fall in love with some of the guys that are going to be off the board before the Jaguars get on the clock. Maybe some of those wide receivers, a Malik Neighbors, a Roma Dunze, trade up. They'd have to trade up to get one of those guys. But do you think maybe a big jump or even a small jump, maybe a hop, would be in the cards for the Jags?
I don't think so. I think where they are positioned now at 17, it would take too much equity to go up far enough to really change your draft. You would change your draft with Neighbors or a Dunze or one of those guys. I think it would take too much equity to go that far up. So I don't think they go up. But I think they have a need where they're not going to get out of there. And I think you're always listening. You're always open for business. That's what everybody says. But I'd be surprised, Jamal, if this group went up or back. You never know. The one thing you just said that I think could happen, if you're at 14 or 15 and whatever you're eyeballing at that point, the second level of receivers after the big three or the top level group of cornerbacks, if you see that starting to go, I could see going from 17 to 14, 17 to 15. But a big move either way would surprise me.
All right. How about the other side of the coin, Frank? Last year, the Jaguars traded back. They got on the board. And, I mean, Trent Baalke and Doug Peterson basically said it in their pre-draft press conference this year. They had a couple of guys they liked, so they just traded back, and then they still got their guy, Anton Harrison. What about this year? If they sit there and they say, man, we really love Kool-Aid McKinstry, but we also really love maybe a Jared Verse who's still on the board.
Yeah.
Pick up a couple picks and see who's still on the board in a couple picks from now. Would a trade back be in the cards, you think?
It surprised me. It
Surprise
surprised me because of where they are. It's always in the cards. Everything's a possibility. Again, you're close. You're 2 or 3 players away. I can tell you in the Jaguar building, they think this is a team that's going to make a run at a Super Bowl. They're going to make a run at a deep playoff run this year, next year, the year after that. This is not a team that's rebuilding. This is not a team that is trying to just to add special teams pieces. This is a team that needs 1 or 2 spots. So to trade back, when you trade back, you're adding value, you're adding special teams, you're adding depth. That's what you do when you trade back. When you trade up or when you stay put, you're trying to get a guy to play right now. So for me, trading back would surprise me.
All right, so let's say they sit at 17. The board's going to fall, and you might be picking maybe the 4th or 5th wide receiver off the board, maybe the 3rd or even 4th cornerback off the board. But you have the possibility of maybe getting the top defensive tackle in this year's class, Byron Murphy or Johnny Newton. Pick your flavor there.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe something like that would be in the cards?
I think Murphy's going higher than that. I think maybe a good bit higher. I think he's the best tackle in the draft. Newton at Illinois, not quite as good in my opinion. So I think Murphy's going to go a little bit higher. It could be. I think a defensive tackle is going to play a lot of football. But you do have 3 guys right now that you like. You got Armstead, you got Roe Robertson Harris, and if Devon Hamilton can get back to good health, there's 3 guys to play 2 spots. So you feel pretty good about that. And you want depth there, so you're going to draft at some point in this draft a defensive tackle. But you got 3 guys you feel pretty good about. I think the cornerback first and the receiver second would play more football. So I like the defensive tackles. I don't think Murphy will be there. I could see them doing it. I'd be surprised if they do it at 17.
All right, we'll have to see what happens. The wait is almost over. We'll have draft coverage coming your way right here on Channel 4 on draft day. Our coverage will start at 7 o'clock. Hopefully you tune in. Frank, thanks for being here. That'll do it for sports.